here come the lifeguards with another boat and brought us to Poland and St. Claude. And from there, they brought us to here.
They still have people in them houses that didn't get out. The water is like 9 to 10 feet high.
I lost everything in Hurricane Katrina. I'm out here in Baton Rouge by myself.
So we got in the house, the water started rising more and more to where we went from the first floor to the second floor to we had to bust a hole through the roof.
In that building, all the morgue operations took place. In other words, identification of bodies, DNA tests, autopsies, comparative DNAs with family members who were living compared to suspected family members who had deceased. All those kind of things happened right in that lab.
In early September 2005, the small town of St. Gabriel, Louisiana, opened its doors to more than 850 Hurricane Katrina victims who died while evacuating New Orleans. With an odd twist of fate, St. Gabriel, with a population of only 6,400, it became the site for the federal morgue, where more than 1,000 deceased were reunited with their families.
Bodies were stored in refrigerated vans, trailer vans, 18-wheeler vans. And these vans operated 24 hours a day to keep the bodies in as stable a condition as possible. Well, actually, it's my understanding that they were rented per month, and it was something like per van, somewhere in the neighborhood of $11,500 per month, per van.
And how many vans do you think were out here at that time?
I would think 300 to 500. Not only on this site, but on other sites in the vicinity.
Like Grace and St. Gabriel, mayors of surrounding cities, towns, and villages had to clean up storm damage within their jurisdiction and also make deliberate overtures and accommodations to help the city of New Orleans and its relocated residents.
After Katrina hit, and we were sort of struggling to find sheltering space within the state of Louisiana, and we had to make the call to the state of Texas saying, would you open your state to the citizens of Louisiana? And we worked throughout the night on a plan to open the state of Texas. And it was sort of the start of, you know, other states opening their doors to our citizens. And as you know, from there, we ended up with almost every state, you know, in this country housing citizens from Katrina and Rita. And you know, we weren't prepared for that. The other states weren't prepared for that, but it was something we had to do, you know, in a very short period of time.
Opening their states and cities meant providing immediate food, clothing, medical, and housing provisions.
Port Allen is has approximately 5,400 people, and it's only 1 square mile. And in saying that, I often tell everybody we're small enough to know you, but large enough to serve you. The whites as well as blacks, I mean, they came out and helped, volunteered. We had more whites volunteering at the community center than we had blacks. Now they had a lot of black churches. They came in on a day-to-day basis, said, I want to cook this day, I want to do. They even had the area businesses. They had blacks and whites going out soliciting funds from the area businesses.
There was no consideration as it relates to race, because people were just lending a helping hand. And it didn't matter what color you were, it didn't matter what party you were in terms of Republican, Democrat. I don't think anybody ever asked that. It didn't matter where you lived at in the city of Monroe. It didn't matter what club you were in, or organization, what type of economic status you were in. People were all coming together and lending a helping hand.
It brought black people together more than anything. And the reason I say that, you know, usually what happens is in olden times, my parents always had in the neighborhood, we would, you know, if you're out of a little sugar or you're out of a little milk, you can go next door. Well, when the people from Katrina came up, you had people reaching out. I mean, the churches and everybody started saying, look, these people need help, and we got to try to help them.
The number one lesson learned from Katrina was that we kept waiting on the cavalry, and we were it. We expected the federal government to come in, we expected regional support, but what happened was our own resources were needed, our own people were needed, people that knew the community, knew the state, and that's who came to the table, that's who brought our efforts to the next level.
For some cities, helping brought overloaded schools, new constructions, long-term population shifts, and strained resources.
It did increase. They were bringing in these little, I want to call them not teepees, but little metal buildings to put some of the kids in. The classrooms were crowded. And then when you had crowding, we had problems. We had fights. We had some of the kids that just didn't understand that the people from New Orleans are just like everybody else. They wanted them out of their school system and back to New Orleans. I wanted a lot of people to stay. Some stayed. I'm only thinking about 20, maybe 25 families stayed in the city of Port Allen, and everybody else left.
Today, history books record the depth of destruction that the state and its residents endured as a result of Hurricane Katrina. Historical accounts will also tell the story of how Louisiana's mayors and citizens aided in the ongoing healing and rebuilding process.
You have to bring in people security, so to speak. You have to bring in public people who are willing to come in, churches, clubs, organizations, athletic teams, schools, you name it. Everybody has to be able to come in and band together and organize together and to see what they can do, because you can't say you need 200, 300 folks. You need a community, because those are community challenges that you have to deal with, and when that occurs, you're going to be in a better situation.
In that time, we provided bedding, food, the needs of the people that were displaced, evacuees that were displaced at that time. Also assisted them in trying to get disaster funding in order for them to start their lives all over again.
Parishes throughout the state, and nearly every state in the nation, became vital to providing resources and shelters during a chaotic situation.
This is ridiculous. And I don't want to see anybody do any more damn press conferences. Put a moratorium on press conferences. Don't do another press conference until the resources are in this city, and then come down to this city and stand with us when there are military trucks and troops that we can't even count. Don't tell me 40,000 people are coming here. They're not here.
Sometimes you have to just let it out, you know, and he did. You have to just let that frustration, that emotion, you just have to let it out. Because I know on some level I did that, in terms of just frustration and being just so distraught, to be honest with you. And I think he was too, just plainly distraught.
I truly admire Mayor Nagin for his efforts in trying to do what he could do. If I were in a situation like that, I don't know what I would have done. So, and I don't even want to speculate, but I do know that he stood to the end, and that's important to me.